Honey Badger Actual here. I think I've fixed my client now. Whoops. So I should be able to get better video of what's going on without having crappy, like weird screen glitches and stuff. So the point of this video is I'm gonna make a kind of a play for using this Thrasher Interdictor 3 and this Slasher Interceptor 2. So we're going to view contents on both of them. You'll see 3 small long-range missiles. This guy's got a red scanner, 2 warp disruptors, 2 batteries, 3 missiles, a micro warp drive, 3 AUX-3s, which is where the IP cost for this ship comes from, 2 hydraulic bay thrusters, and a rocket fuel cache to add range and flight velocity to their missiles. This allows them to tackle a target at extremely high speeds, orbit at their tackle range, and apply damage, some damage. The scanner allows them to find a target, or to scan a system if a prey has warped off, warped away, logged out, etc. You can confirm and hopefully catch them. Now we're going to view contents on the destroyer. Here you will see... Oh, that's not the right destroyer. Yeah, it is. Okay. My bad. My bad. Here you will see 2 strike cannons, 3 strike cannons, 1 autocannon. The autocannon's actually only there to defend yourself against things like drones. If you get a tackle frigate on you, you're going to hopefully have a Slasher or another Thrasher to help you clear it off of you. You'll notice tracking disruptor and missile disruptor, a cloaking device, 2 inertial stabilizers, and an interdiction sphere launcher. 1 hyperspatial velocity 3, 2 auxiliary aux thruster 3s, which also that's part of where the expense for this ship comes from, that and its nanocore. 3 cannon ambit extensions, because range is super awesome. And a tungsten age nanocore setup for flight velocity with some plasmids in the hold. I didn't put plasmids in the frigate yet because I don't have the skills necessary to make an accurate assessment of it for this build yet, but I'm working on training those, so I will have them set up. So, the hypothetical situation. Let's open our map. We have an enemy fleet. They're coming to Q3 via the route into Enreal. Where, oh, where are you at? There you are. Via the route into Enreal. See that route? Okay. Let's go somewhere else real quick. I'm going to show you what I consider the actual battle map. On here, I'm going to go into edit mode. You will see the word battle grid. On battle grid, actually we're not going to use warp line. We'll use void purple to indicate the location of the fleet and other fleet elements. You'll notice, we're going to go with dark blue, that this represents your solar system. Red is where your ships can see their ships and either warp to them if you have a warp in, or shoot at them, or send fighters at them. It's basically on the Citadel, or on whatever celestial body you're able to fight at, or on your fleet anchored in dead space, where your enemy is close enough to show up on the overview. That's your battle grid. Outside of that, you have your solar system. Outside of that, you have your galactic and universal, or regional and universal scale. You'll notice, I'm going to turn this mode back on here. We're going to go warp line yellow. You'll notice I did them in a straight line. I did that for a reason. I've written here a place to stage doctrine. Now, this place, go with void purple, 1V. This place has an NPC station. It can't be destroyed. You can put interdiction on it, but it's a whole rigmarole. This is actually our staging point for skirmishers, or Badger Doctrine, or Thrasher Doctrine, or Slasher Doctrine, whatever you want to call it. The guys that get in the way of the enemy and kill Logi. Now, you'll also notice that I've got a few pre-designated systems. OUBCR, 67NR, 67YNR, LQOAI, F7A, and they've got the word trap written on them. The word trap is there to signify that I already have, or people that I know and will have in my squad or in my fleet already have saved bookmarks or the capability to set up an interdiction trap in that system on the fly. Or it's a good system, even if you don't have bookmarks, because it's either to system or it's a direct route and there's no alternative route. Let's go back into the game for a sec here. We'll look at our star map. Maybe there's no alternative route. Maybe you can't, go down and around this way like you can over there. Which is why having stage in 1V and having it set so that the only option they have to go around you is to go this way, which is a lot more jumps and a lot more time, or they can run your gate camps trying to come this way, and if they do, you're not going to try and kill battleships. You're not going to try and kill battle cruisers that aren't logistics. You're going to be focusing specifically on targets of opportunity that the interdiction specialists manage to get you, and then you will be using your interceptor to tackle one or two of them. And this poses a threat to the enemy fleet in two ways. They have options. They have limited time, depending on the time of the timer. We have battleships already formed up at the timer, or are forming up for the timer. They have a certain amount of time to get from Kenora, and in our hypothetical battle, Q3, into Q3. So they can either leave those logistics ships behind and try and split off a small detachment to save them and hope they can rejoin their main fleet, which they very may well save them, but it still slows them down. Or split off, ignore them, let them die because they got caught, and they lose a couple, or one, maybe 3 or 4, if we're good and if we're lucky, logistics ships to being tackled and killed by interceptors, which can warp away at any given time. Typically, logistics don't usually carry tackle, and if they do happen to interdict a few tackle with the logistics, typically in the chaos, we can get on the tackle and kill it before the logistics can heal it very quickly with alpha damage, tracking disruptors. Even if their anti-frigate and destroyer ships do manage to land on grid, we can put weapons disruptors on them. The frigates and the destroyers can work together, where if the frigate ends up getting a warp scrambler on it or something and cannot warp away, it can either burn away and warp away because it outruns almost everything on grid, hence the Ox 3's Speed Demon. Or the cloaked destroyer, which set up the warp trap for him to catch prey with, can decloak, wait the few seconds that it has, and help provide tracking or anti-missile disruption, because maybe they took the bait and chased the interceptor into the solar system. They're wasting their own time, which is what we want. Even if we don't get kills, the more time they take to waste and watch us and chase us, the better. You'll notice I had a few systems set up marked as trap system. One of them's F7A. I didn't mark O3 because we already have an established trap in F7A. The other one is LQ. You'll notice LQ. Give me 1 second. Go to solar system. Sorry about the length of the video, but because of the way LQ is set up, its in gates all end up going to one out gate, and you can put a trap there that will catch anything coming from either of these two gates. Put a quick trap right there, and boom, you caught them. You split the fleet, you get some tackle on them. They don't even get to 1v. They've already had to fight 2 battles before they can stage their fob. Now they've lost logistics, or they've lost Sino ships, or their other skirmishers. They're gone. They're gone. Okay, so they get to 1v, right? They get to 1v. We're staged in 1v. They have a choice. Oops. The choice is they can either try and turn back around and exit back through Kenora, fighting us the whole way out, getting losses, or they can continue on or try and choose another route. Now, the quickest route is the one highlighted here. We've got it preset with like a few 4, 5, 6-man groups that just kind of are, they're roaming around. You got dictors, got the gate camp set up. If you saw my video about the Honey Badger special, you saw how quick a dictor can set up a double bubble trap. A Honey Badger special. Add in some interceptors, another cloaked dictor on the other gate, who can, at some point, check this out, when the enemy aligns for warp and a few ships warp away, they can decloak and drop a bubble and burn away. Now a group of ships can't warp off that gate because the bubble will be in their way. And because they're cloaked there, they can warn the dictor that's setting up the trap on the other side. So let's go with F7A. So you got a guy on O3 gate. You got a guy on the HB gate because they're in F7A, right? The O3 gate guy says, hey, the fleet just came through. 6 ships warped off. Put your bubble up. He puts the bubble up. The slashers all warp to the HB gate. The bubble's up. The enemy lands in it. The other ships align for warp on the O3 gate. And mind you, this all happens very quickly. As they go to warp away, the dictor on the O3 gate decloaks and drops a bubble real quick. And then aligns to the sun or a safe warp predetermined by his squad mates and warps away to safety. They go out there. They've got the ability to go full hot. And let me just show you real quick. Let me show you. Ooh, I got my thing. I'll show you real quick. We're going to end this. We're going to undock. It doesn't matter what direction you're burning, even if you're burning straight up and need to warp at a 90-degree angle. Watch. Just watch. Okay. You got the micro warp drive on. You just decloaked, popped your micro warp drive, and popped a bubble. I'm not going to pop one here because friendly Citadel. And then you start burning straight up, straight down, east, west, at an angle, whatever. You're like, okay, shit, they can't warp. Now I've got guys tackling or targeting me. They're coming at me, and I need to warp away. So I'm going to go warp with it 100, Pop, pop. Now you're already in warp. They can't even touch you. Even with the micro warp drive on, it's near instantaneous warp. So, let's do it again. Except this time we'll do it like, say you warp to the sun, you know you're being chased, so you're going to start burning to the G-Tac E-gate. Oh, you're being chased. As you're burning, after landing, you pop your bubble, because you know the enemy is coming in behind you. But all of a sudden, they come in from the G-Tac E-gate, and you're like, shit, I gotta warp away. So on your screen, you see something off in the distance that you can click on quickly, and you go micro warp drive off, warp 2, pop, pop, boop, and you're gone. Ultra fast, ultra quick. The reason I went with strike cannons on this build is because if you are actually going to fight, the distance and speed with which you will be fighting is going to be significantly greater than what the auto cannons would be capable of. Because your only real target and your only real threat is being tackled by an enemy counter tackle or another interceptor. You wouldn't engage something like a prophecy, not by yourself in this. However, if you have 3 or 4 slashers with you, all fitted with their nifty little long-range missile fit, you may, in fact, engage a prophecy that you manage to single out for the fleet. If you do this, you can continue to do this down the route. Let me open this back up real quick. You can continue to do this system by system. You know the route. As long as your intel tells you where they're coming from and you know where they're going, the main battle fleet, the guys who are on this grid, remember, we'll do it in red, the guys who are on this grid, they're the guys who are going to benefit from everything you do, warp line yellow, in this battlefield. Because these are 2 separate battlefields. The battlefield in yellow is important because in this battlefield, you can use ships that are ambush capable. Not battle cruisers, not really cruisers. I mean, some cruisers, yes, but you hinder its combat effectiveness to make it extremely mobile, which kind of affects its capabilities with the group. But if you've got ships that are capable of all of that, by all means, please set them up for fast travel. We want the highest possible astronomical unit rating for speed and the shortest possible warp preparation time. Because the whole point of this is being staged. We're going to go with Void Purple. Battleships here. Quick response forces here. Your fleet commander can give a call out. Hey, we need a QRF fleet. Matter of fact, I need Logi, I need Spear, and I need skirmishers to go from 1V, skirmish staging point, to F7A and 67 YNR and set up traps there. And then just wait for contact. They're going to be coming from Kenora. We'll say the intel because this is the hypothetical battle is. We know they're coming from Kenora. They're forming up there. They haven't even jumped the gate yet, but we're forming up ourselves. We got warp line yellow. We got void purple, battlefield red. We're going to go with black for where we set our traps. See the traps? I'm going to go F7A. I'm going to go 67 YCR or NR there. So because those traps are there, because we've staged Doctrine in Q3, and we've staged Skirmish in 1V, we have the ability to just give a chat call out, and people who have the ability to fly these T10 Doctrine, and I say Doctrine because this is the way they need to be fit to do the job. So it's not necessarily like, oh, this is a cool ship for new people, so we're all the same. No, this is a standardization model, so that when someone says, I need Skirmish Fleet to go here, the fleet commander knows exactly what kind of ships they're getting to go there. It's not going to be like 3 battle cruisers who still haven't gotten there, a cruiser that's 1 jump away, and 2 interceptors and a destroyer that are actually in position and ready to go. It'll be a group of everyone in interceptors and destroyers that can all travel at the same speed through the solar system, not on grid, because remember, the on-grid speeds aren't really important in this fight, in this battle. These are light cavalry. These are fast-moving through the universe, fast-moving. They do their job on a solar system to solar system scale, and they need the reinforcement of having another ship that can also travel with them, solar system to solar system, at tier 10, and be extremely effective in groups. If we can accomplish this as an alliance, it will greatly strengthen our defensive, and in the future, when this evolves into an offensive tactic, our offensive capabilities. What I'm asking for is the ability for Void to offer ships like this and ships like this. Give me one moment. I don't have the skills for it, but I'll show you. Offer these ships, but don't do it in the way where we offer them like the free lower tier versions. Do it the same way we offer the higher tier versions, produced at a discount, pre-fitted, not fueled. In this way, we offer T10 players the availability and ability to have a T10 variant of the beginner's dictator, the beginner's interceptor, the low-level ones that can perform their abilities at a much higher capacity. Now, previously I had thought that having the size of the bubble for a light interdictor would be beneficial, so I have a Cormorant nanocore and have done experimentation, and since having done that experimentation, I've come to the realization that for things like gate camps, heavy interdictors are your way to go. Sorry, had a little burp there. For things like fast-moving fleet level interdiction, you're not going to do this against a worm fleet or a frigate roam. I mean, you might, if you have the right amount and type of forces, you might, to split their interceptors from their faction frigs and try and kill all the expensive stuff. Yeah, you might do this. But the point of this is not just for those small scale. This is to use the benefits of small scale at higher tier in the most effective way defensively, and do it in a way where I'm not doing this as a small ships need to be more viable. No, I'm doing this in a way where small ships don't need to be. They are more viable for this role. You cannot really press a cruiser into this level of solar system to solar system maneuverability. You can kind of get it by using all of the rigs and modules. Even on the destroyer, you have to press into it with modules and be a lot less combat capable and be more of a glass cannon electronics warfare ship. to keep up with an interceptor, but a destroyer can do it. And at tier 10 for both, you have a somewhat expensive and very capable tier 10 tackle and a very capable tier 10 interdictor that actually, the way the doctrine fitting, the way I've got them set up and designed, between me and Draconis, shout out to Draco, are very, very capable of tackling ships at great speeds. Now, I'm still skilling into frigates, so you'll notice I don't exactly have the ability to fly the ship that he has graciously built and sent to me for me to do this, but I have them all training. Now, we're using missiles on the interceptor for 2 reasons, because even set up as it is right now, it does 884 meters a second and has a very nice inertial score. Like, its inertial reference is, it's hold on, just I'll show you, just give me a second here. Look at that inertia modifier, a 1 with a really low mass. That's awesome. These, even though I don't have skills in it, they'll hit at fucking 22 kilometers, bro. Between the cannons on the destroyer and the missiles on the interceptor, you can tackle something down and hopefully stay outside of its gun range or missile range. Put some E-War on it. Put some hard tackle on it. We got red scanners on every ship. Every ship in the fleet's carrying a little bit of fuel, so if the dictor runs out or somebody forgot some, everybody should have a little bit. Somebody can spare some, I'm sure. And they all move very quickly with a 5.5 warp speed, and even with my skills, a 1.5 warp prep time. That's fast. That's very quick maneuvering. Let's see. Let's say you're in Q3. You're in a battleship, and you've got skirmish doctrine here in Q3, and FC says, hey, you know what? They're taking forever to form up in Kenora. Why don't we send some skirmish out ahead and see if we can't, catch them that way, right? So let's see. How long? 14 jumps, 15 light years, in 9 minutes. 9 minutes. That's without using fast burn method. You go check the Thrasher 3. Come on, set active. .44 light years, 14 jumps in 9 minutes. Both ships can reach the target destination in 9 minutes. And give me one moment. I'm going to check on my YouTube real quick. Let's go to the video here. The Honey Badger special. We'll turn the volume all the way down. That way you don't have to hear the ads and everything. It is a 5-minute long video, and some of that video is me warping in, but most of what we're looking to look at here, it's 4 minutes 48 seconds. We're looking at how long it takes to set up. So we warp in, and as soon as we land on the gate at 100 off, we expect contact, so we drop a bubble at 100 off. The interceptors will land at the gate. And you know what? When they're working together and the interceptor moves this fast, we can cut down the time to make a gate camp so quickly by simply teaching the interceptors and interdictors to have interchangeable roles. And if you're a small ship dedicated pilot who's playing this game, please train into destroyers and frigates together and fly interdictors and interceptors. I mean, at T10, honestly, we need as many battleship pilots and Logi as we can get on the battlefield. But the battle before the battle is just as important, and we need just as many small ship-focused people to hop in interceptors. If frigates are your jam, interceptors are where you need to be. But you need to know how to do things like set up a warp line trap, so that when you're working with an interdictor, you can do something like, give me 1 second. We'll open our solar system map here. So on grid, on the video right now, I'll describe it to you. I manually set pilot to fly past the gate in a straight line from where I landed on the other gate. So I warped from one gate to another gate, and then as I landed at 100, I set manual piloting to fly past the gate I was going to land at 100 into the void. And by doing that, I'm trying to create a drag trap behind it. So let's look. We'll do a pretend one here. Real close proximity. All right, where can we draw? We'll go right here from the sun to there. Okay. So you got 9 minutes to get to this system, right? You get to the system. You warp to the out gate. You get in line. This line, see the yellow line? We're going to pretend. In this pretend, planet 6 or 5 or 6, I don't know. Planet 5 or 6 and the sun, or planet 2 here, are the two gates we're talking about. So you just landed in system, right? I'm going to go void purple. You just landed here. Enemy red. You know the enemies are coming from here. You're in an interceptor. Your buddy's in an interdictor, right? You land at the gate. He says, hey, I'm going to set up a pull trap. Will you please set up in a catch trap? So let's go warp line yellow, right? Warp line yellow, right? The red are going to come this way. Your buddy, void purple, he's going to fall back from the gate a couple 100 kilometers to make their lives a living nightmare. We're going to go with interceptor green. Interceptor, once you jump gate with the interdictor, we want you to actually approach the other gate. Approach it. You know, pretend the sun is the other gate. Approach it. The reasoning is because the amount of time that the interdictor is going to have to take to go here, save a bookmark, warp to the gate, then approach this one, you've just halved it. Because now they can simply go here, save a bookmark, warp to you, save a bookmark. So now you've almost instantly, okay, look, I'm looking at the video, 4 minutes 11 seconds into the video. I've got the trap set up. I've already sprung the pull trap. Most of the enemy fleet lands in the pull trap, and like 5 frigates and 4 cruisers land in the catch trap. So we'll do white. Most of their fleet lands here. See the green? A few frigates and cruisers landed here. Which, if we had enough of the right people, we can continue this maneuver over and over and over, system to system to system, and split them up over and over again, working in pairs, working in groups of 3 or 4. Because here's the thing, in a group of 3, go warp line yellow again, whoop, group of 3, got enemy red, got interceptor green, he's going to the pull, but then you have interceptor number 2 burning away from the gate in a random direction. Off of the warp line. We'll go void purple for the interdictor. Now, if something happens, if the enemy has an interceptor land, we'll go with enemy interceptor white over here, and he starts chasing after our interdictor, or lands at gate, starts chasing the interdictor. The interdictor has a bookmark saved here, bookmark blue. He can go, we'll go void purple for the warp, and burn towards you and warp to you. And at this point, the enemy's ships, instead of, he could cloak, he could warp, he could run, he could do any number of things and not have to leave the system or die. The interceptors, instead of allowing them to simply try and decloak him from his cloak, can go the other route. If he cloaks, say he cloaks on bookmark blue, he's got a bookmark here too, right? Couple of enemy interceptors warped in and they start burning towards the dictor. They're going to tackle him down and kill him so the fleet can warp through. The green dictors can warp within 20 or 30 of, or the green scepters, sorry, can warp within 20 or 30 of the dictors so they don't decloak him. Or 5, 10 of him so they don't decloak him. And engage the enemy tackle that's currently trying to decloak him. If the enemy that's trying to decloak him is too powerful to engage and we can't actually fight them or cause casualties, then the interceptors, they can warp in and out of bubbles, man. They could warp in, try and get him to pull away from the destroyer while it tries to maneuver out of its own bubble while cloaked. They could come in and engage. They can come in and distract. Having that backup so that if the enemy fleet decides it's going to come here, boop, and land in purple bubble, interceptors got backup. We'll do black here real quick. Remember, black is to signify where the gate is. So they're getting pulled off. Our ideal situation is to have ships that can, in 9 minutes, get from the farthest possible point. We're going to go, we'll use dark blue to represent the gates. We'll use yellow to represent the warp line. We'll use purple to represent the pull trap. We'll use green to represent the catch trap. Now, you want your catch trap to be like far away, like 300 kilometers away. And you might also want, we'll go light blue for bookmarks, a couple of bookmarks in between each of these. And you still want, we'll go interceptor green for a safe warp off to the side, so that at any point you can warp to a bookmark, warp bubble up, warp to a safe point, warp to another bookmark, bubble up, warp to a safe mark, warp back, bubble up. And you can keep doing this maneuver warfare, having these interceptors here and an interdictor or two to work together, having them all know how each other's ships work, having it standardized so that we can get tackles on them, we know how each other are going to perform, and we know what job we need to do. Train and standardize a doctrine for our small pilots to do a job that we really need done. I hope this has been somewhat inspirational. It's at 39 minutes now. I'm going to cut the chatter down. I'm going back into game here to actually play for a while, so I hope it's been inspirational. I hope you've taken a bunch of valuable information about planning and the difference between an on-grid battle. You see this? This is your solar system. Your gate is a grid. Your suns and planets are grids. Your non-player character stations are grids. Your citadels and posses are grids. Everything else outside of those grids in the solar system that you're going to be defending from is a different type of battlefield, and it calls for a different type of doctrine, a different type of command structure, fleet commanding, and planning. We, as an alliance, can do this. I believe we can. I know we can. We need more volunteers. We need more people who are willing to not only fly a battleship in the main battle fleet during the main battle, but are also willing to hop into a skirmish ship, train the necessary character skills, take the time to learn the strategies and tactics behind it, and help us inflict as many off-grid casualties on the enemy fleet as possible. You might wonder, well, Honey Badger, every time you create a fight between your forces and another force, you're creating a grid. That's a battlefield grid. You are correct. But the difference between a main grid and a skirmish grid is a skirmish grid is there to accomplish an objective, not to obliterate the enemy's forces. The objective being, we know we can't kill them, but we can kill some of their logi. We can kill their cynos. We can kill their scouts. We can kill their counter skirmish. We can kill their ships that they would use to kill a carrier's fighters. I hope this has been instructional and inspirational. I'm Honey Badger Actual. Have a good day.